Yo, what's going on, guys? Rhys here from Stoic Pool. And in this video, I'm basically kicking off a series where I bring other SPOs on and kind of help promote other pools. It's mostly just an excuse for me to chat with other people who help support the network. So let's get into it. Right, guys. So today I'm joined with Chado from BBHMM Stake Pool. Chado, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm really good. We're on not other sides of the world, but you're over the drink, aren't you? For me, I'm in London, and so it's quite late for me. But it's like early afternoon, mid afternoon for you, isn't it? So that's not too bad.
Yeah,
not too bad.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no, it's all right. Like I said to you previously, like I'm really just trying to find a way that I can help work together with other stake pool operators to help rise the tide and kind of bring all the ships up. So that's the kind of the reason for doing this. But tell me a little bit about yourself anyway, Chadel. What are you up to? What do you do? How did you get into Cardano?
Yeah, I started with Cardano in 2017, I believe. Well, when the ITN started. So that was, that was last year. But I started following Cardano way earlier than that. And I just, listened to some of Charles Hoskinson's videos and thought that Cardano was definitely the direction that cryptocurrency needs to go, and building a global financial operating system, and just listened to him and how the project was going. And, at that point, it was just kind of like a dream, and, started getting more real, and the community got involved, and the incentivized testnet was set up, and BBHMM was a part of that. And so, here we are.
Awesome. So you're actually running a pool for the ITN?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. So one of the early pools. So I started mine after the hard fork. So late summer. I mean, mine started actually in September. So I'm a bit behind you, but that's awesome. That's awesome. It's not often I meet people who actually meet people like this who are involved in the ITN. So that's really cool. What does BBHMM stand for?
It stands for blockchain better have my money.
Which is amazing.
Thank you. But it's true. When you think of a blockchain, it better have your money. You could also use it for a bank, but you don't know for sure if they'd have your money. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing blockchain. That's why we're on Cardano.
And you said, so previously when we were chatting, you said that comes from a song. Is that a song? Tell me about the song.
There's actually a couple songs that use the word BBHMM in there, and it deals with better have my money. The first B is something different.
Bubbles.
Probably not really, politically correct to be saying, but here, I think it makes sense. Blockchain better have my money. It works, and that's what we're about.
Yeah. So you're part of the Single Pool Alliance as well. Am I right in thinking you're one of the founding members, or am I making that up?
I started early, but I wasn't one of the founding members. It was already in existence. I think I was maybe in the top 50, and I think we're close to 200 now.
I think it's about 190 something.
Yeah. But I did take over a role there, and I just kind of gave myself a role and kind of asked for permission and just did it. But there's ADA folio where basically you can create groups of pools in a group. And so we weren't there, and I'm like, hey, we need to be there. And so I created the ADA folio for the Single Pool Alliance.
Oh, right. Okay. So what role now do you have then in the Single Pool Alliance? Because you say you take on some stuff. I know you don't exactly admin the group chat, but you are quite present in there, aren't you? But what else do you actually do for the Single Pool Alliance?
That's the main thing I've done, and I've helped marketed some stuff. People say, I'm going to tweet this about Single Pool Alliance, and I'll help promote that. But I think there's things that need to be done with the Single Pool Alliance to help us grow. And we're a force that's growing and growing. And, we need to get organized and really push that movement, because that's what decentralization is all about. I mean, if you think about it, running a single pool is what really promotes decentralization. And we're up against a lot of like the exchanges that have many, many pools, and it doesn't really promote decentralization. I know there's a lot of talk about, fixing that and how to fix that, but, we've taken on that oath, and, that's what we're all about.
It's really hard to police. I was having a chat with a bunch of other SPOs the other day, and like this has been like a topic of all kinds of drama on Twitter and just between SPOs, like the whole single pool, multi-pool conversation, which we don't need to get into right now. But a lot of people have such interesting perspectives on how and how to fix something like that, or how to kind of build into the system a way of policing it. We did a video of like Ad Astra and Amint and Brun. Do you know Blade Runner? Do you know any of those pool operators?
I mean, not directly. I've seen them, but like,
yeah, okay.
Social media and stuff. But
yeah, so they like we had like a 2-hour conversation. It was insane. Like we just sat chatting for ages last weekend, and like between us, we came up with like 5 or 6 different ways that that would assist people in promoting decentralization. It's such a difficult thing to figure out, like, because it's not just about what's like the best thing for the network, because it's very hard to explain that to people, but to actually encourage people's behavior to support smaller pools and building awareness of it. Because the average person, the average guy who has Cardano, he isn't thinking about decentralization. He like knows the word probably, but like that average person is just thinking, where do I stake? Where do I get good rewards? And that's the at least if I wasn't involved in a pool, that's how I'd be thinking. I'd be like, what pool do I delegate to maximize my rewards? And it's
how do you get the most return?
Yeah, exactly. Which I completely understand. And like, I'm obviously all for the single pools as well. I think I was like the 80th, 84th or 85th person in. So I was a little bit behind you. But since I joined, that was like a couple of months ago. Since then, it has exploded. There's like 5 or 6 pools every week add in, even more people asking in that chat all the time how they can get involved with it. It's really awesome to see that. But one thing that I really suck at is definitely promoting the single pool alliance. And that's hopefully what these are going to help do going forward, because it's really important to educate people on why we are coming from this angle, and why we're trying to promote this kind of approach to stake pools and maintaining decentralization. Hopefully this, and hopefully I can actually start marketing. Feel free to give me a shout out and kick me up the ass about that at any point, by the way, mate. But yeah, hopefully we can really kind of start spreading now, because I think that we've called it 200 members. That's like 7 or 8% of the total pools, isn't it? It's like 2,700 or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're creeping up. But yeah, what do you think about? Obviously, it's not a very good idea to have the exchange staking. But what do you feel like about that? Like, is there anything you've kind of thought of that might help combat that, or any way that we could address it that you know of? I know I'm sticking you on the spot here.
Yeah, I mean, I think education is important. I think when people stake on the exchange, they want to make it easy, and that's why they're doing it. They don't want to have to worry about the security of actually owning your coin. I mean, if as SPOs, we have to deal with that and work with the security of it. But as a normal user, bringing that coin to where you have those keys on a cold storage device or on your computer or mobile device, I mean, you're taking on a lot of risk at that point. And so I think it's important that we educate, what the difference is between exchanges and, actually owning your coin. Because it's on an exchange, they really own your coin. They have your private keys, and, it's really the ball's in their court. But, as far as, staking and owning that coin, I mean, you're not, that's a good way to participate in the ecosystem. Like from that, we can also vote when it's in a wallet. And I think that's important as well. I mean, at first, I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of cool. We get the vote and all that. But when you actually go to Catalyst and you read through some of the things and you're voting on that and you're like, hey, I feel empowered. I actually feel like there's a meaning behind this voting. And with our treasury system, how it's grown and how much money that's in there, how much ADA is in there, Cardano is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And if you're not participating in that ecosystem and you're just, leaving it on exchange, it's just, you're in it for the wrong reasons. Number one, because it's you're not really participating. You're just looking for financial gain, which is okay, and I understand that. And I think that's what a lot of people do at first when they first hear about Cardano. It's like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great coin and all that, but they don't really know why. They heard it from someone, and they heard a few good things about it, and like, yeah, okay, I'll buy that. But then it takes time. I mean, there's so much to the ecosystem, and there's so many moving pieces, and it's a beautiful technology, and not everyone knows everything about it. Maybe Charles Hoskinson or, some of the guys at IOHK, but, as far as SPOs or end users, it's good to participate as much as we can and learn as much as we can. And, what we really need to do, as a Single Pool Alliance is educate them so they can really be a part of the ecosystem. And it's more than just a financial gain. It's about changing the world, and that's why I'm here. And, at first, I thought, this is a good coin, it'll go up and it'll make me happy. But, the more I hear and learn about Cardano and, the things that are coming, it's about changing the world. It's about making the world a better place. And I truly believe that Cardano has that technology to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so as well. One thing that I love about Cardano is that everything's like, well, not everything, but the majority of like tools are internal. So like where Ethereum's had loads of people just build layers on top of Ethereum, like stacking up projects. Because Cardano has a lot of stuff in-house, like just produced by IOG and IOG it is now, isn't it? I always call them IOHK, but it is IOG now, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they changed the name. So they're rebranded.
Yeah, exactly. But having everything built, like Atala built on the governance and with like Catalyst built on by them, everything's internal. So it's not like they have, if they want to make changes, it's very easy for them to apply those like across everything. And it's something that can be done just with a quick hard fork, chuck in a hard fork, we all update our nodes and then the new network's running. And I think that is something that Cardano really has that enables it to be a lot more agile than like Ethereum or some of the other projects.
Because Bitcoin and Ethereum, I mean, they're having huge issues with upgrading their network and getting to that point of doing the hard fork, because you have the miners, the exchanges, all fighting.
Everyone's got their opinions. Oh, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Like they're always letting someone down. Someone's always suffering if they're making changes. And just the scale of stuff of like all the projects, it's a lot of work to kind of aggregate everyone and kind of make the change together. It's a whole problem. That's one of the things I think that Cardano actually did right is kind of build everything internal. And now with the Catalyst and stuff, they have the option of people to put in. And some of the Catalyst projects are amazing. Like I'm obviously, just by the sounds of things, you're involved in the voting process. Have you got any particular projects that are our favorites, or is there like a kind of thing that you think is really important to the network?
I mean, there's definitely things. I mean, initially, I think some of the things that are important is letting the world know about Cardano and educating the world and third world countries, and empowering people that live in countries that have corrupt governments and corrupt monetary systems, and bringing Cardano to them and saying, hey, this is the way of the future. This is what we really need to be looking at, a self-governing system. And we mentioned Catalyst, but I mean, that's kind of like a beta to what Voltaire is going to bring.
Exactly. Catalyst, just that first kind of the test run, isn't it, to make sure that the system works, that it can be managed, and then once they figure it out, they can actually roll it out on a much higher scale, like for like government voting and stuff like that. I think it's going to be amazing when it's implemented properly, like when it's taken to the next level, you know.
Yeah,
that's going to be really cool.
mean, honestly, I mean, that's a challenge in itself. I mean, to think about like self-governance, where, you know, you have this treasury system and then you have people vote on things. I mean, there's still a little bit of control there, but, you know, how do you have it where it's completely built in the blockchain? And that's still, I mean, a mystery to me on as far as how that's going to be done. But I truly believe IOG will solve that. Yeah. And it'll get us to a point where, you know, they could make it as best as they can before they release it. And then we'll have the ability later to make any changes to it as needed. I mean, we had that future-proof voting system where, you know, Bitcoin or Ethereum and a lot of other coins don't.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be amazing for Cardano.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about the digital identity kind of thing? Because I when I talk to people about this, like I get so many mixed opinions, you know, like, and the thing is, when I was younger, I would have been like, no, I'm not having anyone control it, blah, blah, blah. But realistically, I think that opinion is kind of misconstrued, because it's not really that a government entity or anyone's owning your identity. The idea of the digital identity is sovereign, self-sovereign, isn't it? So you own your own identity. What do you think about that? Like, do you have any opinions on it? Do you think it's particularly good or valuable or anything? Or like, what are your thoughts on Atala?
I think is what you initially said, and I had mixed opinions on it because, I mean, you know, we're dealing with a cryptocurrency essentially. And, you know, the initial thoughts of crypto was to be anonymous, but then, you know, this is basically giving you identity, and you need that. I mean, you need to be able to prove, hey, this is my wallet. This is my funds. I worked hard for this money. And you need a way to prove that. And so, you know, you're getting to the point where you have that digital identity, but then you have a system running that. And so it's kind of like, now we're getting to a point where, is it man versus machine type thing? And, you know, with the AI that may be thrown on top of that, like, you know, where are we going to go with it? I mean, I think it's definitely important, but I think it's also important to be anonymous at certain things. I mean, especially for security and stuff.
Yeah, you know? I think the opportunity of anonymity is good. You know, it's not necessarily fundamental, but to have the choice of whether to be anonymous or not, I think is quite important, because sometimes obviously you will choose, actually, I don't want people to know who I am in this particular instance. Yeah, I think, what are your thoughts on AI then? Are you particularly paranoid? Are you like an Elon with AI, or are you more of like a Ben Goertzel who thinks it's going to be like the savior?
Yeah, I mean, I can go both ways. I mean, there's definitely corrupt people in the world that can take AI to a bad place, but there's also a lot of good technologies that you can use AI for. I mean, if you look at, you know, some of the medical imaging, right, and looking at, you know, screening of the body and, you know, identifying cancers or things like that. I mean, throw all that in AI and all the pictures, thousands and millions of pictures, and being able to identify that. Well, it can identify it better than a human eye. You know, you can go to 10 years of school and, you know, be able to do it. But if you see 10 doctors, they might all have a different opinion on that.
Yeah, you know, which often happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's a big gap in the medical community is not being able to diagnose things properly. And with AI, I mean, I think that would be very helpful in actually getting a more accurate diagnosis of it. So
yeah, I think with the medical, that's actually a really good point about it, because a lot of the times people think of AI, and I think they think of the kind of general intelligence thing, which is what Ben often talks about, where you have like one entity which is like controlling all the cameras around the building. It like controls ATMs and like processes transactions and everything. But just to have like one AI, you to think how much faster a computer can process X-rays, MRIs, and kind of identify little points, like raise issues. They can look at all your records like across through your entire life in fraction of the amount of time it would take for a doctor or a group of specialists. I think it would completely disrupt the whole field for the better. You know, it would just make like the whole process of working with people who are suffering in any kind of way would be a lot better. I haven't really thought about it much. Like it seems so obvious when you say it, you know, but I've always thought about bigger picture, like general, like artificial general intelligence, and not thought about single application, like in medical. It's a really good opinion. So,
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your background. Like how did you end up as an SPO? Did you just see the opportunity with the ITN and thought dive in, or have you been like heavily involved with computers for your job and for your work? You don't have to tell me any particular details if you don't want, but just.
Yeah, so I'm the main admin, but we've got a couple other admins that have helped. Some more involved now, some less involved. But you know, basically, I have probably 24 years of IT experience managing backend systems, server storage, firewall networks, things of that nature, along with the other admin, more development type roles. And so yeah, I mean, I just thought it was a natural progression. I mean, I love Cardano, and, you know, when the opportunity came and, you know, I have those skills, I thought I would apply it to something good, you know, something meaningful, and maybe where, you know, I don't have to work on those systems for other people anymore. And it's just, you know, mainly running my own stake pool.
Yeah. How are you getting on with your pool? Like, is it like consistently minting blocks? Do you ever have any like quiet epochs, or are you at a point where you're just consistently building blocks?
Well, we just recently got IOG delegation, so we have been.
Oh, nice
blocks.
Oh, that's
so
all right.
I think we got one this morning, so we are at 60 something. Let me double check. But yeah, the past few epochs, let's say the past
Have
few
been
months,
tasty.
we've gotten at least one block, and I think that's important to keep the pool running and to keep your delegates happy. Is to, you know, really two is the minimum, I think, to keep your delegates happy. One, to keep the SPO happy and to keep it running. But you know, yeah, the past few months we've at least got one in an epoch.
I still
this
have
last one.
I get a couple of quiet ones every now and then, because my pool's at like 2.5 mil, I think. So it's not at like, it's at a point where we're expected to make 2.5 blocks every epoch, but obviously it swings both ways. So like one epoch we might make 4, and one epoch we might make none. So it kind of still swings.
Yeah,
I think the sweet spot is about 5 to 8 mil.
Well, I mean, it's interesting to say that, because we were at like 1.2 and going up a little bit before we got IOG delegation. And then we had some really good epochs where we had 3 blocks, and we're only like supposed to have like 1 point something would been like the 100% mark. So we were way over and getting more blocks. And that was going well. And then we got IOG delegation. We had almost a whale. He had like 700,000 ADA, and he delegated to us before.
I'd call that a whale personally.
Yeah, I think 1 million is official whale status. I still call him a whale, but we're happy. But what happened is we got increased delegation, but then we're minting blocks still, but it was still below the 100% marker. So our luck was below that. So we're giving out less rewards to delegates. And so that happened for like almost 2 months, where we're getting like, we had like 7 or 8% return for like 2 months. And then we got like 3 or 4% return for the next 1 or 2 months. And now we're getting back up to more like 6, just over 6%, which is good. But I know it was random, but I didn't really realize how random and how lucky it could be. Because I mean, you could still have a few million and not get any blocks. And, I mean, I think that really would hurt a pool. I mean, it's stressful, making sure
it is stressful,
making sure you at least get 1 or 2 blocks each, epoch. So, I think it'd be good to have, probably closer to 10 million where you can guarantee 2 blocks in epoch.
Yeah. But, what do you think of the IOG delegation then? Has that helped you attract more, like a bigger stake, or do you just find that it helps you mint more blocks?
I mean, it helped us at first, and I think more people were delegating to, but now it's kind of been a little bit slow. And so I don't know. I think it helped in the beginning, but not recently. And then, a lot of it has to do with, social media and marketing. And, that's not been a strong spot for us as far as spending a lot of time on social media. It is very difficult.
So hard. Like what I didn't realize, but one of the other SPOs pointed out to me, is that Twitter especially is like the go-to for a lot of SPOs, but it's often just a bit of an echo chamber where everyone just follows other SPOs. It's like pools following pools. And then it just like the people who are looking at seeing, like when you promote your pool, it's just other SPOs, or maybe not always, but I find that's the case for me. And
I see that. I agree with you on that.
It's tough. It's tough. Yeah, it's really hard to get in front of people.
And I mean, there's so many forms of social media now. It's like not just Twitter,
you're not doing TikTok. You're not doing little dances for everyone to get people to delegate to your pool.
I wish, but no.
I might get my girlfriend on that to help promote Stoic.
Yeah, you should.
She's better at dancing than me. She's better at dancing. That's why I can't dance. I'm dyslexic at dancing. I'm like broken.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I mean, there's definitely being more technical. It's hard to engage yourself in social media, but you really have to. In Cardano and doing proof of stake mentality, you have to get yourself out there. And I've seen a lot of pools that have done well by doing what you're doing and getting on YouTube and talking about Cardano and the whole ecosystem. So I think that's good. I think YouTube is one of the better ones, because I've done a couple of videos where, it shows you how to stake and, what's how to set up a wallet and, not leaving it on Coinbase or, things of that nature. And I've seen delegation where it didn't come from another pool, but it was basically, they delegated to my pool first. And, and
100% loyalty. That's what you like. That's what you like to see.
Well, they may not stay, but we were the first pool to delegate to. So it's kind of like they watched the video and the last part is, delegate to BBHMM, and then it's like they just followed it and, and then, they gave feedback on, the comments within it. And so I feel like a lot of it came from there. Whereas, you got delegation from another pool. Hey, they're just looking, at your return.
They're looking for the next high. Yeah.
And then at some point we were like 7-8%, for that month. And you're like, oh, they're pretty high. Let's delegate to him, so.
Yeah. The thing about that though, is it's like, it's a false sense of security. Like you feel like, oh, they've had 7% in return, I'm going to go with them. But then the next couple of epochs will go below 5 to that as the balancing it out just through the law of averages. I know maths isn't biased, you don't accumulate the actual luck of the algorithm. Like if you have a couple of bad epochs, it's not like you're guaranteed to have a good one. It's not blackjack, but that's how people still see it, so when they see a 7% return, they're like, yeah, 7%, I'm getting on that. And then get upset then when you have a 3% epoch or like are disappointed with themselves. I find YouTube's been definitely the best option for me. 100%. 100%.
Good call there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And when I started the pool, I kind of committed to doing an update every epoch. And for the first 3 months or something, I literally had nothing to say. You know, there was no update. We'd never minted a block. But I kind of persisted with it. And I did some other videos like you're saying about buying ADA, moving it, setting up Yoroi, because I use Yoroi, just because I never have hard drive space for Daedalus. But yeah, those videos are hands down the most watched videos on my channel. Like I've had people comment in there specifically, "Oh, great video, thanks, blah blah blah. I'm going to stake with Stoic," and stuff like that. So it definitely helps. Like, you think how you search. I literally only search for things on YouTube. I don't Google stuff anymore. I just YouTube stuff. I find it a much better medium to actually learn and to find answers to your questions. And if you can very quickly vet the information. So you can like watch a video and you go, "Nah, I'm not interested in that." And then you can just find the next video. And I think it's much easier than trying to scroll through loads of text and work out whether you want to trust that source, you know. Whereas with YouTube, you just see the video, first impression, what do you think, get off if you're not interested, you know. I find it's been a godsend for me, because that's literally how I've got to where I am. And I'm not exactly like, I've been below the top 500. I've been in the top 500 once. I was 495 or something for one epoch, and literally that was the whole video was about me being in the top 500, and the next epoch I was straight back out again, like 570 or something.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be proud of, you know. And I mean, and we say all these good things about YouTube, and I do agree, it's a good place to learn about how to do things. But you know, they're also centralized, and they also, you know, they censor things, and then they don't censor things that they should censor. When, you know, they grab a video of Charles Hoskinson and then they add, "Oh, send me one ADA and I'll send you 2 ADA back." And then, you know, they get scammed on that. You know, that kind of
1 billion ADA giveaway or something crazy like that.
Exactly. And it's, you know, that's some stuff that, you know, should be stopped on there. But then
I haven't actually seen much of that recently.
Okay.
Like I used to see loads of it, like the start of this year and kind of between like last summer and kind of February, maybe I saw loads, and every time I just reported it. Like you'd see them as promoted videos on YouTube and stuff, and ads, and I just report it all the time. And maybe it's just because I've complained about it so much, I don't get shown it, but I haven't really seen a lot of them recently. Wait till smart contracts launch, then it'll start all over again. 100%.
Yeah. I never really saw that. I just heard about it, and other people have told me about it. And like, there's someone I was talking to, and she, like, I sent her legit Charles Hoskinson, IOHK, you know, the actual link to learn about Cardano. Here you go. And then she got in so many just scam videos and like asked me about that. I'm like, no, you're going down the wrong path there. And it's just like, it's how it pops up in your algorithm, you know, what's shown to you when, you know, you open up YouTube, and what's recommended. I mean, I know it's who you follow and subscribe to, but, you know, it's
something that should be policed a lot better. Like, you know, like surely YouTube knows that those things are scams. You know, they know they're not official, don't they? So it should be very easy for them to respond to that kind of thing. But whenever I've seen them, they've been up for hours, like hours. It's crazy how long these things actually run for, like these videos, you know. Really? They run for like 2 or 3 hours at a time. Yeah. And they'll just have either one video that has like Charles or Vitalik or whoever, you know, whichever like figurehead in whichever cryptocurrency talking about something, or like some like keynote that they did one time or something. And it'll be a series of them clipped together, and it'll just be on a little box, and it'll have all the giveaway information or like addresses to send your ADA for your free treats. And they go for so long. I don't know how to get away with it. Like I'm not brave enough to try anything like that. Like a part of me thinks, oh, these scammers, they're getting rich off the back of us. Like I should do something. Like obviously I'm never going to, but like you feel a bit like, I'm a bit pissed off about it. And I'm like, I might just do a scam and make loads of money and then disappear, you know?
Yeah.
I'm too scared though. Like I know everyone would find me. Like I can't believe people are that brave. that they would actually do something like that, because it's not just about being like malicious and trying to like take things from people. It's actually about believing you can get away with it as well. And people do, you know, they must do. But to me, like, I'm too much of a pussy to do anything like that. I'd be like, they all know it's me. I'd be like hiding behind the bus and stuff, like scared to come out.
Well, I think you have like more to lose, right? Like, let's say you did get caught with that. I mean, that'd be detrimental to you. Some people don't care and they don't have a good life. And, you know, this is their way of making money. I mean, we have people in countries that they're sitting in a warehouse just hacking all day, you know, kids, you know, in some of these countries that are just, you know, they give them a computer and like, hey, attack, see what you can do and see what holes you can find on the internet or in this blockchain or this company or, you know, whatever it is, you know, there's a lot of malicious people out there, you know, and
there's a lot of money in it as well. Like that's the other thing, like, because it's like one of the things about crypto is that it's supposed to be secure, but because it's not like a fixed way of doing things. Like it's a new thing. You got to like write down your seed phrases, and it's really important you don't give them out, but there's not such a good education on it just to the general public. So a lot of people they easily fall victim to scams like that. But I can understand how it happens, but the whole point of the blockchain is that it's secure and you can always track where the things go. Like you can basically follow one token's entire journey between various different wallets, can't you? I know it's not that simple, but essentially you can do that. But because there's no identity tied to any wallet, it's very hard to find people who are actually do anything malicious, which kind of brings us around to the Atala again, you know, and I think that's one of the main values of Atala is having an identity tied, maybe not to a wallet specifically, but it's provable that is you do have ownership of any given wallet based on that self-sovereign identity.
Yeah, and I think some of it is like in the US, they're gonna start doing regulation, or they're talking about that. And then, you know, with that, it would be like, okay, you have this crypto wallet, but it's not associated to an identity. Well, Cardano's like, okay, well, we're ready for that. You know, we can have it built in where this wallet is tied to an identity and you can use it or not based on the country you live in. And so I think that was probably one of the drivers that they had to create that Atala Prism.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the rug pulls that happen in crypto as well are like a big incentive to have some kind of legislation to like some way of actually like either insuring yourself or like protecting yourself from things because it's so like I don't know any people who have been scammed personally in crypto, but I do hear about it in the comments on some of my videos. You know, like some people have said, oh, this happened or that happened. And it's actually heartbreaking because you're like, you see a comment like that, or you get a message from someone, oh yeah, I did this and now this has happened. And you see it sometimes. I don't think I've seen any in the Single Pool Alliance chat, but I've seen in some of the other chats where people are like, oh, I've just done this. Is there a way to get it back? I think I've just been scammed. And you're like, oh, mate, you definitely have. If you think you've been scammed, you've definitely been scammed. And there is nothing anyone can do about it. And you hear stories of it being like, people are like, oh my God, it's like all my savings have gone into this. And you're just like, oh man, I'm so sorry, you know, that there's, it's one of those things that once it's done, and there's nothing you can do to recover it. And it's good in a way because it's setting the pace for us to have much more control over our personal belongings and our possession, like our money and our identity. But these growing pains are going to get worse for a while. And when it happens, it's going to really, really hurt people. Some people, you know, people who do fall victim to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and taking even further from the scams is like you need to have a legit security model as far as, okay, like, you know, I'm married and I have kids, right? You know, my kids are so young that they don't understand about this technology yet, right? Yeah. But I want to be sure I pass my coin to them, you know, or even running the stake pool. You know, I'm lucky that I have other operators right? But what happened if something happened to me, and, I'm not here the next day? Where all my keys are, like I store it, encrypted on drives. It's got, levels of protection, but, I still got to be able to pass on those keys and that data. And I think that's, that's education. It's stressful in a way, but, I left town last week, and I'm like, passing on, hey, this is important, right? There's this much worth of coin on here. And, if you need to access it, right, well, you need to put in, this code or, whatever it is, and store that in a different spot. Don't store it here and, pass that on to a trusted family member, to be able to do that. I thought about that. And like, what happens if something happens when we're on the plane, and you're not coming back? But I want to make sure my kids, have that coin, because it's going to be worth something, not only financially, but just changing the world, in that way. And I want them to be a part of that movement. It's like a celebration. We mint a block, for the kids. It's like, hey, we just minted a block. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I get more toys, something like that. And so it's like, they're being brought in, even though they don't know everything about it and the security of it. But, at some level, they're starting to get an idea of, what that means in this.
So do you run leader logs then, or do you just let it be a surprise?
It took me a while to actually start doing the leader logs. At first I kind of liked the surprise, but, now I like to know. And in the ITN, it was a mix, but now I definitely run the leader logs because, I want that schedule and to see when we're going to mint blocks and to be ready for it, because, we also have to do updates and maintenance, and, we want to make sure our infrastructure is online during the time when we're supposed to mint the block.
Yeah. So for me, I don't normally run leader logs because I like the surprise. I only run leader logs when it matters. So if I need to do some maintenance on the pool, or if I need to do anything, updates or whatever, if we're doing any updates to the nodes, then I'll do it. But otherwise I try not to. Like, it's easy enough to do at any point if I need to know, and just be like, click a button essentially and find out, but I love the surprise still. It's so exciting for me. And I know that's because I'm a bit of a child, but I just really enjoy, like, it's like a bit of a thrill, like getting a little notification on my watch or something, like, you just made a block. And I'm like, so excited.
Yeah.
It is fun. It is fun.
Yeah. And then
there's so many mixed opinions about it as well. But I use lead logs, but only when I have to. Otherwise, I really like the surprise.
And I'm kind of like you, like I run it, and I may not look at it, as long as I'm not doing maintenance or anything. And then I'll get that surprise. And, oh yeah, we're supposed to have a block at this time. And it's kind of like, because I'll forget after I run it, unless you're like looking at it and converting the time and then, putting in your calendar, then it's, if you're not thinking about it, then it is a nice surprise for sure.
Yeah. Because for me, I don't come from a particularly technical background. Like when I realized that this was like possible for me to do, I basically made it my full-time job to learn everything I needed to be able to run a pool, from like just basic using Linux and setting up cloud servers to like the cybersecurity and everything in between. Like, I spent a month and a half solid, like full-time learning how to run the pool. And I was in contact with loads of people, getting some tips, helping me out. Like, and I really appreciate that. But I really, I still love, even though I'm very competent with it now, I still love the thrill. And I love the excitement of like running the pool. And it's like a whole event. My girlfriend, who normally sits by here, she's away at the minute. Luckily, she isn't annoyed with me about it yet, but I feel like it's going to get to a point someday where I'm like, I made a block, blah, blah, blah. But like, and she's going to be like, oh, give over about the bloody pool. You know what I mean? It's become such a little thing between the two of us, like a little thing that we've got together, and I really enjoy I just really like to enjoy the whole thing, you know, like everything about it, because it's not like a full-time job where you're turning up at work and you're grinding it out. Like you put the work in, you set up your pool, and yes, you have to focus on the marketing, but aside from any updates, it basically runs by itself. And I just love having something that pulls me back and goes, yeah, you know what, like you've done something really, really good here. And I just have that little moment where I'm like, yes, I made a block. And then I'm like, all proud of myself. Like I've done something good, even though it hasn't really been any work for me, you know. It's
been a lot of work. And I mean, it's definitely a huge amount of respect, you know, coming from a non-computer background and being able to learn all this and, you know, not just setting it up, but setting it up and it being secure. I mean, there's a lot to say about that. And much respect to you for doing that, honestly.
Well, thanks. I mean, I don't like, I expected it to be a lot more work than it was, I think. And so I really over prepared for it. And I'm glad I did, because it's helped much, much further down the line where I've had to react to things. Like I had a moment where I was being like, one of my nodes was basically being like, just trying to be connected to from every port. Like it was like 360 odd connections or something, and that to be able to react quickly to kind of stop that and protect the node. And even though I had everything set up already, just being able to like dive in and fiddle with a few things and lock stuff out and make sure there couldn't be any more connections. And then but it's really been most input from the community. You know, I've had so much help from other SPOs, and that's one thing I really love about the community. That like the Single Pool Alliance is great, but other SPOs as well outside of the alliance who are very good for like being able to contact them. Everyone wants to help each other, you know, and it's I've got a lot of love for like everyone who's involved. That it's not just me who has learned by myself, you know, it's not, I haven't done it all myself. I've had a lot of assistance from everyone else, and yeah, I'm very competent now, but yeah, it's been a good journey. It's been a very exciting journey.
Yeah, it's that mutual respect. I kind of compared it to like MMA or like UFC fighters. Like, you know, we're kind of competing with each other, and, you know, I guess to mint blocks per se, but, you know, we have that mutual respect because we're all doing the same thing. You know, like after a fight or something, you know, you'll see the two guys hug each other, you know, and, you know, they're showing that mutual respect, you know, because, you know, basically they're doing the same thing and they're going up against each other. But, you know, I kind of compare it like that. I don't know if it completely makes sense, but
no, it does. Absolutely. Like it's that's one thing that sportsmanship really instills in people, I think. And I think that's one of the really good things about that. I grew up playing rugby because I'm Welsh, and it's like the only sport that we have a sniff at, basically. And I feel like I learned so much playing rugby when I was a kid about teamwork and about cooperation and kind of competing but working together at the same time, you know. And like there are so many lessons through sportsmanship, whether it's like a single man taking on the world like it is with MMA, or like tennis or something like that, where it's just one man rather than a team. But then also the team games as well. Like I think there's a lot of mental development and like learning about cooperation that can kind of be learned from that at a very young age. And I think from playing that when I was young, I really learned those lessons quite early, and I think that's helped me a lot through life, just in general.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree.
So listen, Chad, it was really nice having a chat. I don't want to keep you for ages, mate, because I know you've got stuff to do. You've got your family, so I don't really want to keep you chatting here for ages. But I'm really grateful that you've been the first one on for this video, this kind of series that I'm putting together, because I've asked lots of people to come on. I've kind of put it in the chat for the Single Pool Alliance. I've put it in other chats as well, like trying to get people in, and a lot of people are quite nervous about it. So just big thanks for kind of stepping up and getting involved. I really appreciate it. It's been really interesting. Like it's been really interesting just learning a little bit about you and about that song you wrote to make your stake pool. Yeah, it's awesome, man. So thank you. Is there anything you want to say before we close off?
No, I just want to say thank you as well. I mean, it's really great to be here and have me on. And I think we had a really good conversation. Hopefully everyone will like it.
Yeah. Obviously, you can go and check out BBHMM on Pool Tool, on ADA Pools, on what's the other one? There's like a really good one that London Pool set up that's amazing. I can't remember, but I'm going to link to it below. So check it out. You said, Chado, you said you had a YouTube channel as well. Like, can you send me the details of that, or like, can you just mention your channel quickly, and I'll link to that as well so people can find you there.
Yeah, I'll send you a link so you can include it in there.
Wicked.
I think it's one of those cryptic links where, you know, it doesn't have enough subscribers, so you can't have a custom link yet.
Yeah. So, well, just send me the link and I'll put it in the description again. All right.
Okay.
And any other social media like Twitter or Instagram or however anyone can reach out to you would be fantastic. Yeah. Check out BBHMM, guys. If you're looking for a pool to stake to, or you're bored of me, which I completely understand, consider delegating to Chado. He's been part of the ITN, so he's been around for a long time, a lot longer than I have, and it'd be great to see you support other people in the Singapore Alliance. All right, guys. Literally, that's it. Chado, again, thank you so much. Guys, if you like what you've seen, as always, give us a like, subscribe for more Cardano videos every week. Don't forget to delegate to Stoic or do BBHMM. Otherwise, I'll catch up with you in the next one. See you then.